Somebody is lying, and I can't wait to find out who. Nafisa Collier, if what you said is true, just make sure you got that on recording. Hey, Cathy, if what you said is true, just make sure you got that on a recording.
WNBA Commissioner Cathy Engelbert faced reporters, claiming she'd improve things. But instead of addressing the real issues raised by Nafisa Collier, she sidestepped every tough question. The accusation shook the league and cast doubt on its leadership, especially regarding Caitlin Clark. You could see it in Engelbert's eyes. She wasn't confident. She was just trying to survive. With players, coaches, and even media confronting her in real time, the truth was impossible to hide. So why keep dodging? Today, we're exposing how Engelbert's words backfired and why NBA Commissioner Adam Silver may soon have to step in to fix her mistakes. Should Engelbert lose her job? Let us know in the comments.
First, let me repeat this. You saw it in my statement, but I have the utmost respect for Nafisa and for every single player in our league. They are at the center of everything we do. I was disheartened to hear that some players feel the league and me personally do not care about them or listen to them. And if the players in the W don't feel appreciated and valued by the league, then we have to do better and I have to do better.
How did Cathy Engelbert believe she could talk her way out of a scandal everyone already knew about? When she walked to that podium before the finals, the tension was thick. Reporters weren't there for speeches. They wanted answers. But instead of giving them, Engelbert leaned on the oldest PR trick: sound sympathetic and hope people forget the problem. Her opening promise to do better sounded hollow, especially from someone accused of ignoring the same players she claims to champion.
Hi, Cathy. Malika Andrews, ESPN. I just wanted to get some clarity on some of the specifics that Nafisa Collier said about your conversation that you had that was previously private. Did you in fact say that, quote, players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the rights deal that I got them?
The stage looked perfect. She thanked reporters, praised the playoffs, and presented herself as a leader of progress. For a moment, it almost worked, until she mentioned Nafisa Collier's comments. That's when everything started falling apart. Engelbert brushed off Collier's claims as inaccurate, but never actually denied the biggest one, that she said Caitlin Clark should be more grateful. Her silence said more than any speech. Instead of clarifying, she hid behind vague lines about miscommunication and ongoing conversation.
I think what's most helpful is to focus on, I have been in touch with Nafisa. We've exchanged texts. We're talking next week. So I think, obviously, a lot of reporting, a lot of inaccuracy about what I said or what I didn't say. And I will tell you, I highly respect the players. There's a lot of emotion and passion going on right now because we're in collective bargaining. We're in the WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened.
Her answers sounded more like something from a board meeting than from a leader who understands her players. The more she spoke, the less anyone believed her. Every word felt rehearsed and cold. When a reporter pressed for a direct answer, Engelbert didn't clarify. She changed the topic to league statistics and sponsorships, as if numbers could distract from the truth. It felt like she was talking about charts, not people.
I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, it's obviously been a tough week. And I just think there's a lot of inaccuracy out there.
Meanwhile, Collier's honesty made the contrast clear. In her exit interview, she didn't sound scripted. She sounded fed up. No rehearsed lines, no PR filter, just truth. That authenticity exposed Engelbert's weakness. One spoke from lived experience, the other from a teleprompter. Fans instantly noticed who was being real, and in that moment, Engelbert's credibility crumbled.
That's a mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world.
By the third round of questioning, reporters were visibly frustrated. They tried to get straight answers from Engelbert, but every response was the same recycled corporate language. We're evaluating. We support all players. We're focused on the future. It felt robotic and disconnected, like someone describing a crisis as under control while it burned behind them.
You've continued to express that you're disheartened by the characterization of your conversation with Nafisa Collier. Just again, seeking clarity. Did you in fact say that Caitlin Clark should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything? And do you actually feel that way, that without this platform, players like Caitlin Clark wouldn't be making what they do off the court?
Then came the quote that defined the day. Engelbert said, "I'm not a quitter." She meant it as strength, but it sounded tone deaf. Nobody wanted her to quit. They wanted her to take responsibility. Instead, she acted like she was being unfairly attacked. The issue wasn't her calmness. It was her pride. Fans and players weren't upset that she stayed composed. They were furious that she refused to admit fault.
Caitlin has been a transformational player in this league. She's been a great representative of the game. She's brought in tens of millions of new fans to the game. Proud of what she's put on the court. Unfortunately, the injuries held her back from a full season this year. But again, I'm not going to get into every point, counterpoint. It's not productive here. We're here to celebrate the WNBA finals. I think what Indiana just did was amazing with all the injuries they had, and the everything they faced this year, bringing that to a Game 5 in overtime. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of inaccuracies reported out there.
That's when the whole room's mood shifted. Viewers watching live could see it. Her biggest mistake wasn't lying. It was pretending no one could see through it. Players were reacting online before the press conference even ended, and they weren't holding back. The gap between her polished PR talk and the players' lived experiences grew wider by the minute. Engelbert didn't just lose control of the story. She lost the players' trust, the one thing holding the league together. That trust fuels everything, and now it's running out fast. Her press event meant to calm chaos, only revealed how deep the cracks in the league really are. Reporters left knowing they hadn't just covered an interview. They'd witnessed a shift in WNBA power.
A trend we've seen this season has been the increase in injuries. According to the Nine Basketball's database of injuries were up 36% this year. And even in the WNBA's own numbers that were shared with Bloomberg, they say they were up 29%. So amid change to officiating and what could come of that, I guess, what is the league prepared to do to address this increase in injuries going forward?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. Obviously, injuries are the worst part of sports, in my view, especially injuries that occur, due to the physicality. I think our game is bigger, faster, stronger, certainly even in the last 5 years since I've come in to the league. I think the training, the development, the strength and conditioning, the nutrition, everything that's going into the level of the players that a lot of our fans like is also adding to that physicality. And that's why I said in my prepared remarks, we have to determine where the players want that line to be, because I think they want some of that, but obviously we don't want injuries. And
the league didn't just react, it exploded. The backlash spread faster than any official statement could contain. Players who normally stayed quiet spoke out loud and clear. It felt like a breaking point, the moment the athletes who carried the league said enough. Engelbert's attempt to downplay Collier's claims was a final straw. The people actually living the WNBA experience refused to be silent anymore.
We're the players that are driving this change. And regardless of how it's said, I think the messaging stands the same from the players' perspective is things need to change, reffing needs to change, leadership needs to change. I think, our league is at a spot that it hasn't been in the past 10 years. Like, we're growing exponentially and we need change to mirror that. And I think where the players see the league going is different than where leadership sees the league going. And somehow we need to see that align. And I think the CBA negotiations will help hopefully get us there.
Lexi Ho was one of the first to speak up. Her message was short but powerful. She backed Collier publicly and called out the lack of accountability at the top. Fans noticed how bold it was. She wasn't afraid of politics or fines. Coming from a respected, professional player, her words hit hard. Soon after, others followed. Aya Wilson, Elena Del Don, and several veterans added their support. Even coaches like Stephanie White joined in, despite the risk to their careers. It was no longer a single player's frustration. It was a united front showing that the league's leadership had lost its grip.
She's in the way of our growth and our development as a league, not just on the player side, but on the league side. She's not good for basketball. That's what Nafisa got. Nobody questioned Cathy Englebert's business acumen now, because we know she knows business. And you see the average player salaries, it was $28,000 when they first started. It's about, over the 130 now. You got salaries over $200,000 now, some of them, but that's not enough.
This level of unity was rare. Usually, players stay cautious to avoid fines or conflict. But this time, no one held back. Their tone was consistent. They wanted honesty, respect, and real leadership. Many didn't name Engelbert, but everyone knew who they meant. Their support for Collier was more than solidarity. It was a warning. The trust between players and leadership had broken. Old frustrations about officiating and safety returned too, exposing how players felt undervalued. Engelbert's refusal to stand by them in public made that divide painfully clear.
At the end of the day, you have a star player in the league saying the commissioner, this individual, is in the way of all of us. And that was her statement. I believe she should hand in her resignation.
Even media voices who usually avoid controversy jumped in. Stephen A. Smith questioned Engelbert's understanding of her own players. Dave Portnoy accused the league office of hiding behind PR spin. One by one, sports analysts began framing Engelbert not as a leader, but as a liability. That's dangerous for a league still trying to prove stability to investors. Fans didn't want another statement. They wanted change, and they wanted it fast.
Do you give Cathy Engelbert credit for the TV deals that she has struck, or does all this kind of lead to her demise?
No, I give her no credit for anything she struck, because as far as I know, it was a struggling league until this new class of rookies came out. And I mean, listen, this may say a lot about my WNBA knowledge. If you threw Asia Wilson's name at me like 2 years ago, I'm not sure I really would have known who that is. I certainly wouldn't have known who Nafisa Collier is. Like, yes, I knew the bigger stars, and those are as big, but like I'm talking to Diana Taurasi, but I wasn't locked in on this league. Everything has changed.
Now the question is, what happens when the WNBA's biggest issue can only be solved by the NBA? The controversy has grown beyond player frustration. It's now about control and money. Few fans realize half the WNBA is owned by the NBA's Board of Governors. That means Engelbert doesn't just answer to her players or team owners. She answers to Adam Silver. Her position exists because the NBA allows it, and that might be the most uncomfortable truth in women's basketball.
Is being made to, or quite literally is. And sometimes that's a matter of perception from the ownership. Players have said how they feel. Then yes, I would imagine that her job would be in peril here. That though will have to come from the Board of Governors. That would have to come from NBA leadership, because as I understand, Cathy Engelbert, when she was named the first ever WNBA commissioner, reports directly to Adam Silver and his team.
That connection between the leagues is crucial. The WNBA may be smaller, but it shares the same financial systems that power the NBA, billion-dollar media deals, sponsorships, and global branding. The upcoming $2.2 billion joint media agreement ties both leagues together. If the women's side starts looking unstable, it hurts the entire basketball ecosystem. For years, Silver has pushed for unity. But when leadership on the WNBA side becomes a PR nightmare, that unity turns into damage control.
There are conversations that I'm sure the league and also the NBA leadership is having, because again, we're in the WNBA finals. We talked about NBA preseason coming, and this is probably, if not the biggest, one of the biggest stories in basketball in the US right now.
That's exactly what's happening now. The conversation isn't about whether Engelbert can fix her image. It's about whether Adam Silver will step in before things get worse. With player frustration boiling online and negotiations for the next CBA looming, trust is gone. A league that depends on teamwork can't function when players don't believe in their commissioner. What started as a PR disaster has now become a financial and reputational risk for both leagues.
Follow up though and ask, I think that the growing sentiment around the league, right, is that players, they feel that the right leadership isn't in place right now in the league office. So do you feel that you're still the right voice and expect to continue to be commissioner beyond this CBA?
Sports history is full of examples where executives were removed not because of failure on paper, but because the optics became too toxic. When sponsors or athletes lose faith, leadership changes fast. That's the discussion quietly happening in league offices right now. Insiders say tense meetings are being delayed until the finals end to avoid overshadowing the games. Everyone understands the stakes. Ignoring the issue might look worse than addressing it. The message circulating behind closed doors is clear. Protect the league's momentum and keep advertisers confident.
Certainly, that's another inaccurate statement out there that everybody reads and takes clickbait on. Obviously, I've never been a quitter. I'm entering my 40th year, actually, this month in business. Never been a quitter, never shied away from tough situations. I think leadership, the cream always rises to the top, and I've always been someone who believes in the fact that if there's things we need to fix, we're going to fix them. If there are things the players have a perspective on that they don't like that we're doing or I'm doing, we'll fix them.
That's why the rumors about Adam Silver stepping in no longer feel like speculation. They feel inevitable. At this point, it's not about Engelbert's achievements or her effort. It's about control. Silver has the power to reset the WNBA's public image with one decision. Fans are realizing that Engelbert isn't the ultimate authority she portrays herself as. She answers to someone higher. Her fate depends on a boss who values stability over loyalty.
He suggested Caitlin Clark should be grateful for what she makes off the court. That's preposterous. Did you miss the Iowa years? Clark is the Tiger Woods tide that lifts all boats. And we know this show is proof. The highest rating we have ever had followed one of her games at Iowa. The WNBA has benefited from her presence more than the other way around, even though this year for Caitlin Clark was essentially lost to injury.
For players and fans, that realization brings cautious optimism. If Silver steps in, maybe leadership will finally align with the players, not against them. It suggests a future where accountability replaces denial. As 2025 approaches, this could reshape women's basketball entirely. With Engelbert's credibility gone, attention turns forward. Fans are eager to see what a new WNBA could look like, one built on honesty, fairness, and respect. The next evolution of the league won't come from slogans or PR campaigns. It'll come from removing the barrier between growth and justice. And that barrier is Cathy Engelbert. Players like Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, and Kelsey Mitchell represent what true leadership looks like. The WNBA doesn't need promises to do better. It needs someone who actually will. Do you think Engelbert should be fired? Let us know in the comments.